The cold evening air carried a strange silence across the peaceful neighborhood. People were returning home from work, lights turning on one by one, children running inside as the night grew darker. But in front of one beautiful white house, something unusual was happening. Something painful. Something loud. A middle-aged black man named Samuel Brooks stood outside the large house holding an old brown suitcase. His posture was tired, and his eyes carried years of quiet struggle. He wasn't angry. He wasn't shouting. He simply looked like a man who had lost something he deeply loved. Inside the doorway stood his adoptive daughter, Lena, a 24-year-old woman with sharp eyes and an even sharper tongue. Her voice echoed through the whole street as she screamed at him without mercy. "Get out, Samuel. I'm done with you. You are nothing but a problem in my life." Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, watching in confusion. They had always seen Samuel as a calm, hardworking man. He woke up early, helped everyone, and never raised his voice. He was the kind of man who would give his food to someone else without hesitation. But tonight, the world was seeing a different picture, a daughter pushing out the very man who raised her. Samuel took a slow breath. "Lena, please," he said softly. "You don't have to do this. This is still your home. And I am still your father. You are not my father." She shouted back with a cold laugh. "You are a burden. And I don't want a burden living in my house." The cruel words cut through the air, sharp as a knife. Samuel looked down at his suitcase, remembering all the years he worked 3 jobs to buy this house. But she didn't know that. She never cared to ask. He looked at her again, this young woman he raised from the age of 6. She was abandoned by her real parents, left alone in a hospital. When no one wanted her, Samuel took her home. He fed her, clothed her, taught her right from wrong, and stayed by her side through every sickness and every fear. But now, she stood in the doorway like he was a stranger. The street grew quieter. As more neighbors stepped outside, pretending to check their mail just to see what was happening. A few whispered, "Why is she shouting like that? Poor Samuel. He doesn't deserve this. What did he do?" No one knew that behind Samuel's gentle eyes, a dangerous truth was hidden, a truth worth $5 million. Lena pointed toward the street. "Leave, right now, and don't ever come back." Samuel's heart felt heavy, but he didn't fight. He didn't shout back. He simply nodded, as if he had expected this moment for a long time. He adjusted his old coat, lifted the suitcase, and stepped down the front stairs slowly. But before leaving, he turned around one last time. "I loved you like my own blood," he said quietly. "Everything I ever did. I did for you." Lena rolled her eyes. "Save your drama. Just go." Samuel gave her a sad smile, one that held both pain and understanding. Then he walked down the road, each step echoing like a final goodbye. The neighbors watched as he disappeared into the darkness, but something about his walk didn't look defeated. He wasn't broken. He wasn't lost. He looked almost relieved. Lena slammed the door behind her, thinking she had won. She believed she had removed an old problem from her life forever, but she didn't know that Samuel was not leaving empty-handed. Inside his suitcase were documents, papers that told the true story of his life. Papers that revealed the fortune he had built secretly. Papers that held the shocking truth. Samuel Brooks, the man she threw away like nothing, was hiding a $5 million secret, and now that he was gone, that secret was about to change everything. The next morning, the neighborhood was calm again, but the memory of last night's scene still lingered in every corner. People whispered about Samuel as they walked their dogs or took out their trash. They respected him, they liked him, and they couldn't understand how his own daughter could throw him out like a piece of trash. Inside the house, Lena moved around with a strange excitement, almost like she had won something. She made coffee, played loud music, and danced around the kitchen as if the world had become lighter. But under that fake happiness, something else was growing. A small, uncomfortable feeling she didn't want to name. Her best friend Mira knocked on the door and walked in with wide eyes. "I heard shouting last night," Mira said. "Tell me what happened." Lena smiled proudly. "I finally kicked him out. I don't need him in my life anymore. I'm free now." Mira blinked in shock. "You kicked out Samuel? But he raised you. He's always been so good to you." "Good?" Lena scoffed. "Please, he's always been broke and slow. I'm tired of supporting him." Mira stared at her, confused. "Supporting him?" "Lena, he paid for everything. He paid your college fees. He bought your car." That's the past," Lena snapped. "And anyway, he had no real money." But Mira remembered something. She remembered the time Samuel paid her mother's medical bill without a second thought. She remembered how he always tipped generously at restaurants. How he never looked stressed about money. Something didn't match. "Lena," Mira said slowly, "are you sure you knew everything about him?" Lena shrugged. "What is there to know? He's just a simple old man." Mira didn't look convinced. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "What if he wasn't simple? What if he had secrets?" Lena laughed loud, but for the first time, doubt slipped into her eyes. What if Samuel really had a secret life? What if he wasn't as useless as she believed? To distract herself, she walked upstairs to Samuel's old room. She pushed the door open. The room smelled like old books and warm memories, memories she had tried to forget. The bed was neatly made, the closet closed. Everything still in perfect order, except one thing. The bottom drawer was slightly open. Curiosity pulled her in. She knelt on the floor and opened the drawer. Inside, she found old birthday cards. Small notes and letters Samuel had written to her every year. Letters filled with love. Letters she never bothered to read. She put them aside carelessly. Then she noticed a hidden compartment at the back of the drawer. Her heart skipped. She opened it carefully and found a small folder filled with thick bank receipts. Her fingers trembled as she looked at the numbers. $150,000 deposit, $200,000 deposit, $300,000 deposit, $500,000 deposit. Her breath caught in her chest. What is this?" She whispered. "These were not small amounts. These were life-changing amounts. And they were all in Samuel's name." Questions filled her mind like a storm. Where did this money come from? Why didn't he ever tell her? Why did he live so simply if he had this much money? And worst of all, did she just throw out a man who was actually rich? Mira walked into the room and saw Lena's shaking hands. "What did you find?" Lena showed her the papers. Mira gasped. This is a lot of money, Lena." For the first time, fear crawled up Lena's spine. She felt dizzy. She felt cold. She felt something she had never felt before, regret. What if he had a plan? What if he was saving this for something? Mira whispered. Lena's throat tightened. A terrible thought hit her like a punch. What if this money was for me? She said in a small voice. Mira didn't answer. Because both of them already knew the truth. The man she kicked out, the man she insulted, the man she broke, was not poor. He was hiding a secret far bigger than she imagined. Secret that was only beginning to unfold. The house was eerily quiet that afternoon. The sun's light streamed through the curtains, but it couldn't warm the heavy tension in the rooms. Lena sat on the edge of Samuel's old bed, the folder of bank receipts trembling in her hands. Each number stared back at her, impossible yet undeniable. $5 million, hidden all these years. And she had thought him a poor, helpless old man. Her mind raced, thoughts colliding with one another. How could Samuel, a man who always seemed to struggle, have such a fortune? How could he live modestly, eat simple meals, work endless hours, and never flaunt a penny, all while building a hidden empire behind the scenes? Lena's fingers shook as she flipped through the folder. Each receipt told a story: careful investments, payments into savings accounts, deposits that no ordinary man could make. Samuel had been planning something for years, something she had no part of, something she couldn't even begin to understand. A knot of panic formed in her chest. She could almost hear his quiet voice, his calm smile from the night before, and the weight of guilt hit her like a hammer. For the first time, she realized how cruel her words had been, how sharp her rejection. She had thrown him out, insulted him, and laughed while he carried a secret worth millions. Maybe he's testing me, Lena whispered to herself, staring at the last receipt. Maybe he wanted me to learn something before giving it to me. Mira, standing near the doorway, tried to console her. Lena, slow down. Just breathe. This isn't about the money yet. It's about understanding why he did what he did. But Lena couldn't listen. Her eyes fell upon Samuel's desk, a small locked drawer she had never dared open before. Curiosity burned inside her, a dangerous fire she couldn't ignore. She pulled it open. Inside lay a black notebook with a golden lock, small but heavy, as if it carried a world within it. Her pulse raced. She had never seen Samuel look so careful with anything before. And now here it was, right in front of her. This must be it, she murmured. Every instinct screamed at her not to touch it, to leave it be. But greed, curiosity, and a desperate need to understand him pushed her forward. She fumbled with the lock, finally prying it open with trembling hands. Inside, she found pages filled with Samuel's neat handwriting. It wasn't just numbers. It was a story. A story of struggle, sacrifice, and love. Every line told how Samuel had worked silently for decades, saving for a future he knew she might never understand. Every note showed careful planning, investments, and the way he shielded her from the weight of reality. Lena's lips quivered. She realized something terrifying. She didn't just reject money. She rejected a man's lifetime of care. She rejected her father, the only person who had always loved her unconditionally. Mira reached out, placing a hand on her shoulder. Do you see it now? This isn't just money. This is his life, his love, his trust. And you threw it all away. Lena's eyes filled with tears. She dropped the notebook, her hands clenching her head. How could I be so blind? How could I treat him like that? The room was silent, except for the faint hum of the ceiling fan. But outside, somewhere in the distance, Samuel's figure walked calmly down the empty street. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. The secret was safe. His plan was still in motion. Lena knew one thing clearly. The moment she had laughed at him, insulted him, and kicked him out, she had entered a world of consequences she didn't understand yet. She had underestimated him, and now, for the first time, fear replaced arrogance. $5 million. Hidden, protected, his life's work. And she had almost destroyed the man who had given everything to her. Her mind couldn't stop. Questions raced faster than she could answer. Why hadn't he told her? What would he do next? Could she ever make things right? And then, deep in her chest, a new emotion grew: regret. Heavy, sharp, and undeniable, Samuel's secret wasn't just money. It was proof that love and patience could survive cruelty and ignorance. And Lena now understood that some truths, once ignored, could never be unseen. Samuel's footsteps were silent on the cracked pavement as he walked toward the old city. The suitcase in his hand didn't feel heavy. It felt like a key to everything he had worked for. He didn't glance back at the house he had built with love, the house where his adoptive daughter had thrown him out without a second thought. Samuel didn't feel sadness. Not fully, he felt purpose. His destination was a small office tucked between a quiet coffee shop and a bookstore. The sign read, Derek Hill, Attorney at Law. Samuel pushed the door open, the bell jingling softly. Inside, a man in his early 40s looked up from his desk, eyebrows raised in recognition. Samuel, Derek said, voice calm but tinged with surprise. I wasn't expecting you today. I'm here, Samuel said softly, placing the suitcase on the desk. "It's time." Derek motioned for him to sit. His office smelled faintly of leather and old paper, a comforting scent. But Samuel wasn't here for comfort. He had spent decades planning this moment, and now it was finally near. "You sure about this?" Derek asked. "You worked your whole life for this money. Are you really giving it away?" Samuel's lips curved into a faint, sad smile. "I'm not giving it away," he said. "I'm letting her choose what she wants to do. If she's ready. But not yet. She needs to understand first." Derek nodded slowly. He knew Samuel well. He had watched him live simply, sacrifice endlessly, and hide his wealth in plain sight. Few knew the truth. Fewer still would understand it. Samuel opened the suitcase and carefully removed a small black notebook with a golden lock. He placed it on Derek's desk like it was a fragile treasure. "This contains everything," Samuel said. "Every investment, every account, every dollar. She doesn't know about it yet, and she will not open it until the right moment. Do you understand?" Derek nodded. "I do, but Samuel, are you sure about this? You could keep it, enjoy it, live comfortably for the rest of your life. You don't have to suffer this way." Samuel shook his head. "No, I didn't live for comfort. I lived for her. My life was always about her. But she must learn. Some lessons cannot be taught with money alone." Derek studied him for a long moment. Samuel's eyes were calm, almost gentle, but there was steel behind them. This man had been underestimated all his life. And yet, he had created something incredible without anyone noticing. "I'll make sure the notebook is safe," Derek said. "No one touches it until she's ready. Not even me. I'll keep it secure." Samuel nodded and leaned back in his chair. He felt lighter somehow, knowing his plan was in motion. He didn't need recognition, applause, or thanks. All he needed was the knowledge that when the time came, the truth would reveal itself. Meanwhile, in her room, Lena stared at the black notebook she had found in her father's old drawer. She had no idea that Samuel had already entrusted it to Derek. Every page she read shook her world. Further numbers, notes, letters that hinted at something bigger than she could imagine. She felt fear, curiosity, and guilt in equal measure. She wondered why her father had never shown her the truth. She wondered why he had lived so simply despite having all this money. Outside, Samuel walked through the quiet city streets. The night was cool, the streetlights casting golden halos on the pavement. He felt a strange peace. His life had been hard, yes. Loneliness, work, and sacrifices had been constants. But love, real, unshakable love, had been worth every struggle. And he knew something else. The moment would come when Lena would understand. When she realized the value of patience, sacrifice, and unconditional love. For now, Samuel disappeared into the city night. A man who appeared defeated, but carried a secret that could change everything. Little did Lena know. Her life, her choices, and her understanding of her father's world were about to collide. And when they did, the $5 million would not just reveal wealth. It would reveal a lifetime of love that had been hidden in plain sight. The game had begun. And Samuel had already won. The morning after discovering the black notebook, Lena could hardly eat. Her hands still shook as she flipped through the pages, reading Samuel's meticulous notes, letters, and investment records. Numbers blurred into words, words blurred into emotions, and emotions blurred into guilt. $5 million. Hidden all these years. And she had called him a burden. She had kicked him out. She paced the room, the notebook clutched to her chest. Mira watched silently, her eyes full of concern. "Lena, you need to calm down. You can't change what happened, but maybe you can understand it." Lena stopped pacing, her eyes wide. "Understand it? Mira, I don't even know where to start. He hid all this from me. He worked all these years, saved everything, and I treated him like dirt, and now he's gone. Mira took a deep breath. Do you even know where he went? Lena shook her head violently. No, and that's what scares me. He's not just hiding money. He's hiding himself. And I don't know if I'll ever find him. Her mind raced, connecting dots she had ignored for years. Samuel's calmness, his simple lifestyle, the way he always avoided showing off. Every memory now carried a hidden meaning. Every sacrifice had been for her. And she had dismissed it as normal. Lena's chest tightened. She had to find him. She had to understand why he had done all this, and maybe how to make it right. The first step, she realized, was the black notebook. But flipping through it again, she noticed a line she had missed before. A small note written in the corner of a page. Almost like a whisper. If she is ready, she will know where to find me. Her heart skipped a beat. Ready? Had she ever been ready? Did she ever deserve to be? Fear and guilt mixed in her stomach like a storm. Maybe he left clues, she muttered, her fingers tracing the edges of the notebook. Mira leaned closer. What do you mean? There's more than numbers here. There are letters, notes, hints. He always planned everything carefully. He wouldn't just leave all this money without a reason. There must be something else. Determined, Lena read the notebook again, this time paying attention to the smallest details. At the bottom of one page, she saw an address scribbled faintly, almost hidden under a note about an old investment. She squinted, realizing it might be the key. Myra frowned. Are you sure that's real? Lena's eyes glimmered with desperation. It has to be. This is the only lead I have. I have to go there. I need answers. I need him. She packed a small bag, leaving the notebook behind for safety. Her hands shook, her mind racing, but she felt a strange courage rising within her, a mix of fear, hope, and desperation. Before leaving, she paused at the front door, staring at the street. The empty space where Samuel had walked away the night before now felt like a void in her chest. She whispered, almost to herself, I'm sorry. I didn't know. But I'll find you, Dad. I'll find you. The drive to the address in the notebook was tense. Lena's mind kept replaying Samuel's calm face as he walked away, his gentle smile as he accepted her cruelty without anger. How could someone be so strong, so patient, and still? So mysterious? When she finally arrived, the building was small, almost hidden behind a row of trees. It looked ordinary, but Lena felt the weight of anticipation in her chest. Somewhere inside, Samuel was waiting, or at least he had left something behind. Something that could explain everything. She stepped out of the car, the evening sun casting long shadows across the parking lot. Her hands clutched the notebook tightly as she approached the entrance. Mira followed silently, offering a comforting presence. Lena's heart pounded. Every step felt like a test. Every breath was a mix of fear and hope. She didn't know what she would find inside. She didn't know if Samuel would be there. She didn't know if she could ever make things right. But one thing was certain. The moment of truth was finally near, and whatever awaited her inside that building would change everything she thought she knew about her father and herself. Lena's hands trembled as she pushed open the door to the small office. The faint scent of old leather and polished wood filled her nose. At first, the room seemed empty, but then a man emerged from behind a tall stack of files. Derek Hill, Samuel's longtime lawyer. His expression was calm, but his eyes carried weight. You must be Lena, Derek said, his voice gentle but firm. I've been expecting you. Lena's chest tightened. Where is he? Where's my father? She asked, her voice almost breaking. Derek shook his head slowly. He's not here. Not yet. But he left something for you. Something important. You should sit. Lena followed him to a worn leather chair, clutching the black notebook to her chest. Her mind raced with questions. Why hadn't Samuel confronted her himself? Why had he entrusted everything to this man? Derek reached into a drawer and pulled out a small, neatly wrapped envelope. He handed it to her carefully. "Open it," he said. Lena tore it open and found a single, handwritten letter in Samuel's flowing script. Her eyes moved over the words. "Lena, I raised you, loved you, and trusted you. I never demanded anything because love is never a demand. You may have thrown me away, but my love for you never wavered. One day, you will understand what it means to sacrifice, to protect, and to give without expecting. Until then, read carefully and know the truth." Her hands shook. She swallowed hard, trying to hold back tears. Do you know what this means?" Derek asked softly. "Your father built something extraordinary. He hid it, protected it, and waited for the right moment. Not for himself, but for you." Lena looked at him, confusion and fear in her eyes. $5 million. It's real, isn't it? He wasn't lying. Derek nodded. Every word. And more than that, it's not just money. It's proof of a lifetime of sacrifice. Every detail, every investment, every decision was made to secure your future. He did all of this quietly, knowing you might never appreciate it. Until now. Lena's chest tightened. Guilt washed over her like a tidal wave. She had treated him like he was nothing. She had called him a burden. She had thrown him out of the house she loved. And now she realized the scale of what she had destroyed. I didn't know," she whispered. I thought he was poor. I thought he was weak. I didn't see him for who he really was." Derek leaned forward. "That's the point. You didn't see him. But the truth doesn't disappear just because you ignored it. Your father's work, his love, it's still here. But understanding it comes with a choice. You can learn from it, or you can continue to ignore it. The choice is yours." Lena's hands trembled as she opened the black notebook. The first page revealed the total, $5,080,000. Her eyes widened as she read. The carefully detailed entries, investments, savings, property deeds. Even a plan for her future that included education, housing, and security. Every page showed a man who had lived with patience, foresight, and unconditional love. Tears ran down her cheeks. He did all this for me. Even after I treated him like dirt." Derek nodded. "He always believed in you. That's why he didn't confront you with anger. He let you walk your path, even if it hurt him. And he left it in my hands, knowing that one day you might finally understand." Lena sank into the chair, clutching the notebook to her chest. The weight of guilt pressed down on her, heavier than any fortune could. She realized the truth. The $5 million was more than money. It was a symbol of patience, sacrifice, and a love she had never fully appreciated. Her mind raced. Could she make it right? Could she find him? Could she show him she understood? Outside the office, the world continued, but inside, Lena felt the first crack of awakening. The realization hit her harder than anything before. Samuel's love had been quiet, powerful, and unstoppable. And now for the first time, she understood that some truths, once revealed, could change everything. The sun was low in the sky, casting long golden shadows across the quiet streets as Lena drove away from Derek's office. Her hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, the black notebook clutched against her chest. Every page she had read screamed a single truth. Samuel had given her everything, not just money, not just security, but a lifetime of love and sacrifice. Guilt and regret pressed down on her like a physical weight. She remembered the night she had shouted at him, the words that had cut him like knives. She remembered the neighbors staring, whispering, wondering how a man could be treated this way by his own daughter. And now she understood that she had been blind, selfish, and ungrateful. "Where are you, Dad?" She whispered aloud, her voice breaking. "I need to see you. I need to tell you I'm sorry." Mira sat quietly in the passenger seat, glancing at her friend with concern. "Do you even know where he went?" she asked softly. Lena shook her head. "No, but he always leaves clues. He plans everything. He wouldn't just disappear without a reason. He wants me to find him if I'm ready." They drove through the city streets, Lena scanning every park, every quiet corner, every familiar place Samuel might have gone. Her heart ached with the realization that he had trusted her, even after all she had done. She felt a wave of shame unlike anything she had ever known. Hours passed. The sky turned pink, then deep purple. And then, at the edge of the city, in a small hidden park by the river, she saw a figure sitting on a bench. Samuel. He looked calm, almost serene, as if he had expected her to arrive. Her heart stopped. She parked the car and ran toward him. Tears streamed down her face. "Dad, I'm so sorry," she cried, her voice raw with emotion. "I was wrong. I didn't see how much you gave me. I didn't appreciate you. Please, forgive me." Samuel looked at her, his eyes soft, patient, and full of a love she had never truly understood until now. He didn't speak immediately. He simply waited, letting her words pour out, letting her heart break and rebuild in the same moment. Finally, he spoke. "Lena, love isn't about money. It's about giving, even when it's hard. I gave you my life, my patience, my faith in you. And I still do. That will never change." Lena fell to her knees in front of him. "I see it now, Dad. I see everything. The house, the money, the sacrifices. All of it. I was blind. I was selfish. But I understand now. Please, let me make it right. Let me be the daughter you deserve." Samuel extended his hand to her. She took it, trembling. The sun dipped below the horizon, bathing them in a warm glow. It felt like a new beginning. "I never did this for thanks, Lena," Samuel said quietly. "I did it because I love you. And maybe, one day, you'll understand that love doesn't need recognition. It only needs to be felt." She nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I understand now, Dad. I finally understand." He smiled, the same gentle smile she remembered from her childhood, the smile that had always made her feel safe. He patted her head and said, "Good. That's all I ever wanted." For a moment, they sat in silence, watching the river reflect the last rays of the sun. Lena realized something profound. The $5 million, the investments, the house, none of it mattered as much as the life lessons he had given her. Samuel had shown her the meaning of patience, sacrifice, and unconditional love. And then, as if on cue, Samuel stood and walked toward the shadows of the trees. He didn't vanish, but he didn't look back either. He had done what he needed to do. He had trusted her to learn, to grow, and to finally see the truth. Lena stayed on the bench, holding the black notebook, watching him disappear. She knew she had lost time. She had lost patience. She had lost respect, but now she had a chance to rebuild everything he had silently given her. And in that quiet, bittersweet moment, Lena understood the most important truth of all. She hadn't lost a fortune. She had almost lost the only father who had ever truly loved her. The notebook rested on her lap, heavy with history, sacrifice, and love. She opened it one last time, and for the first time, she smiled not at the money, but at the man who had given her everything without asking for a single thing in return. And in that smile, she promised herself she would never forget him again.